Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. So, in this video, we're going to talk about something more interesting as well as informative. Those are the AMCAT automatic questions. So, AMCAT examination usually contains two sections exclusively for coding. One is automata, and the other section is automata fix. So, automata is they'll be given a problem statement, and we have to write the entire coding for that problem statement. An automata fix is like a debugging section where a set of statements with many bugs will be given and we need to clear each and every bug within the program. So today we're going to see about automata and especially about the pattern programs. So let's get started. So the first pattern program that we're going to see today is a triangle pattern. So this is the first pattern that we're going to discuss today. It is a simple triangle pattern. So whenever we're going to approach any problem, we have to try to break the logic of the problem or the program because we think that there is no logic for this program. It's because we couldn't find the logic. Instead, we have to try to analyze the program and we have to break the logic from the code, from the output, and then we have to write our own coding. So whenever you're going to approach any pattern, try to make them something like this. We have to make them into a table and we have to check how many number of rows and columns are there and name each row and column. So we have 5 rows as well as 5 columns, right? So first thing that we got to know today for this pattern is it has equal number of rows and equal number of columns. Next we have to write the logic for this program. Looking on the logic of the program, when row is equal to 1 and column is equal to 1, the value is 1. And when row is equal to 1 and column is equal to 2, we are not having any value there. So from this, we can conclude that when column is greater than the row, we are not having any value. And when column is less than or equal to row, we are having some value there. Now let's check with a row 2 and row 3 like this. So considering the row 3, we are having two elements 2 and 3. When row is equal to 2 and column is equal to 1, we are having the value 2. And when row is equal to 2 and column is equal to 2, we are having the value 3 there. And when row is equal to 2 and column is equal to 3, we are not having any value. So again, if you see the same column is greater than row, we are not having any value there. And when column is less than or equal to the value of row, some value is present. Now let's check this with the third row also. In third row, we are going to have 3 elements. So if you see, as the number of rows increase, the number of elements also increase. When row is equal to 3 and column is equal to 1, we are having the element 4 there. And when row is equal to 3 and column is equal to 2, we are having the element 5. And when row is equal to 3 and column is equal to 3, we are having the value 6. But if you see, when row is equal to 3 and column is equal to 4, we are not having any value there. And if you see, row 1 has 1 element, row 2 has 2 elements, row 3 has 3 elements, row 4 has 4 elements, and row 5 has 5 elements. And we also conclude that when column is greater than the value of row, we are having no elements present there. And when the column is less than or equal to the value of r, we are having some value present. Now let's look on the value, now how the value is calculated. If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for the each element that is printed, we have the value incremented by 1 than the previous element. Now let's look the program in the Turbo C++. First we'll create a new project file and we will save the project as pattern. So I've saved it as .c because it's a C program. Yes. Now I'm going to include the header files for the program. Ash include stdio.h and ash include conio.h. And now I'm going to enter the void main. So now we saw that and the logic that we are going to have 3 variables, num, rows and columns. So I'm going to give the value of num as 1 because I said, right, the value is going to get incremented from value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So then I'm giving CLR SAR clear screen. It is purely optional. And now if you see, I'm going to start with row, and in each row I'm going to check the every column, right? 1, and then I'm going to give gap for the entire row, and then 2, I'm going to give gap for the entire row. Sorry, 2, 3, and then I'm going to give gap. So I'm starting with a for loop for row. For row is equal to 1, row less than 5, and row plus plus. So within the row for loop, I'm giving the column for loop. So if you see, I'm giving the condition here when column is less than or equal to row. So this was the logic that we found, and the most important logic for this program. So I'm creating a for each loop for column, and if the condition is satisfied, I am printing the value of num, percentage d comma num, and I'm closing the for loop. Sorry, I'm incrementing the value of num because for the next value, the value should be incremented by 1. So I'm closing the for loop. So before closing the row for loop, that is a for outer for loop, it's good to give a printf slash n, because slash n is like the next line. So after 1 we have to print it in the next line, right, for the 2 and 3. So for that we are giving that plus slash n, and it is also preferred to give slash t after every number, because when you are having 2 digits you don't have that better ordering in our output. So we are giving slash t and slash n accordingly. So and then get ch, I'm giving the get ch for the it's purely optional, but I'm giving it, and now I'm going to save the program and I'm going to run it. See, we got the output. So now you can understand the logic, right? For each row I have went through it and I've displayed each value, and for each row within each column I am checking whether it is less than row, and then I am printing the value if it is less than or equal to the value of row, and I'm giving a tab space. So after completing each row I'm giving a slash n so that it will go to the next line. Like next line is for the next row, right? So for that I'm giving the slash n. So hope you understood this program. So the next program that we're going to see today is something similar to the one we have tried. So here if you see the rows, in the rows the numbers are actually reversed, 3 2 instead of 2 3. So if you do slight modifications in the existing logic, we will be able to execute this program. So let's see how it is. So if you see the pattern now, again I'm breaking it into a table. So I've written it in rows and columns, and I'm marking it as 1 2 3 4 5 along rows, and 1 2 3 4 5 along columns. So we know one thing, that when value of c is greater than r, we're not going to have any value, and when value of c is less than r, we're going to have a value. So in this we have broke off of the logic, and now we're going to see exclusively about the values, like how to break the values. So in order to do that, I'm introducing two variables. One is m and another one is n. So m is for decrementing. So if you see decrementing happens within the rows 3, 2, 6, 5 and 4. So for that I'm using m, and n is for incrementing. So if you see within different rows, the value gets incremented 1, 3, 6, 10 and 15. So for that I have introduced two variables. One is m and another one is n. Now let's check the logic. When r is equal to 1, c is equal to 1. So as I said before, the value is going to be m because I'm going to decrement, right? So I am decrementing the value of m, and then what I am doing is I am incrementing the value of n. You might ask me why, but I'll explain it as the flow goes. Now let's see for the next row. When r is equal to 2 and when column is equal to 1, the value is 3, right? But we have to print the value of m, but it should tally with the value of 3, right? M should be 3 here, but if you check here, the value of m is 0 and the value of n is 2. So in order to do that, what I am doing is I make m is equal to plus n. So I am incrementing the value of n as well as the m. So the value of m becomes 3 and the value of n also becomes 3. And now if I am printing the value of m, it will get tallied and the value of m will be 3 and it will be printed. So again I am decrementing the value of m. It's because the next value to be printed is 2 and I am incrementing the value of n in order to print it for the next row. So when r is equal to 2 and c is equal to 2, the value will be m, that is 2. So we got it already. So I am just incrementing the value of n. Now the value of m will become 1 and the value of n will become 5. So for the previous thing, how I did, I'm making again that like m is equal to plus n. So I'll do that when r is equal to 3 and c is equal to 1, the value should be m, right? So for that only I'm going to include the same line. That is when m is equal to plus n. So I'm giving this condition only after the for loop of each. So for loop of column. So once the column for loop is ended, I'm giving this value so that for each row I'll get that particular value of m. You understand, right? The m is not evaluated within the column. It is evaluated within the rows for loop. So for r is equal to 3 and c is equal to 1, the value will be m again. So again I am decrementing the m and incrementing the n. So this is how the flow goes, and if you try for the next two rows also, it will get worked. Now let's see how to run this program in the. Now we will open the Turbo C++. So I'm going to use the same project that we printed the last pattern. So I'll open that project. So if you see, that is the same program that we have written for the last pattern. So I'm going to make the changes. So instead of num, I'm going to make it as m is equal to 1 and n is equal to 1. So as we discussed before, m is for decrementing within the rows, within each row, and n is for incrementing between the different rows. So now I'm going to change the value as m because we have to print the value of m, and we have to decrement the value of m. So I'm giving it as m minus minus and l plus plus for incrementing the value, that is for different rows. So after the for loop of the column, like within the row, like for different rows only we should have the m value, right? For that I'm giving it out of the column. So m is equal to plus n. Oh sorry, it's n plus plus. So m is equal to plus n. So after making these changes, let's save this and run it. See, we got the pattern. I said like I will give a bonus tip at the end of the video. So that is something regarding to the triangle pattern. So whenever getting this triangle, the value of column must be less than or equal to row is constant. That condition is constant. So whenever getting a triangle that is opposite to this, it is reverse to this reverse the condition. When the column is greater than the row, the value should be printed, and the column is less than the value of row, it should not get printed. So if you like this video, please like, share and comment, and do leave your doubts in the comment section. I will surely answer those questions.